of us have fond memories of childhood cartoons, but there just may be some way darker episodes that we happen to miss. Some of these episodes are remembered through the stories of the internet, and that is what we are here to talk about today as we cover the top 10 scary cartoon episodes that should stay lost forever. Before we dive into this list, you guys, I just want to quickly talk about today's video sponsor, MagellanTV. MagellanTV is a documentary streaming service that is obviously dedicated to documentaries and documentary series. Whatever your thing is, whether you're a science person, a nature person, history, true crime, or you just love a good old docudrama, MagellanTV is sure to have it. And they add new titles every single week, so there's always going to be something new for you to add to your must-watch list. One of the things that I recently watched with my MagellanTV subscription was a series called Scotland's Murder Mysteries. I love true crime, I love mysteries. It's perfect. Basically, each episode dives into different notorious murder mysteries that occurred in Scotland, of course. They include different important documents like medical and police records. They take us through other evidence, which includes like personal items like letters and stuff, and they try and piece together what may have happened in order to, of course, try and solve this crime. It is honestly like being part of the investigation, and I felt like I was living out my detective dream. If this sounds like something that might be up your alley, I have some good news for you. MagellanTV has decided to give most amazing top 10 viewers a free 1-month trial. Like, most places give you 7 days, they said no, we'll give you 1 month because we know you're gonna love it, and then you can check out their amazing service, and all you gotta do to get this 1-month free trial is hit that link down below in the description box and head over there and start watching. It's for a limited time only though, so don't wait around, hit that link and enjoy. Alright, on to our creepy cartoons. Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have The Simpsons. So for this one, we have this rumored lost episode of The Simpsons that is said to be titled Dead Bart. Basically, rumor has it that this episode is based on the idea that Matt Groening has this ability to accurately predict the death of all of the guest stars from the show. I mean, it seems really far-fetched, of course, but we've also seen scenarios where The Simpsons somehow accurately predicted something long before it happened. Anyways, this episode is said to have been aiming at putting this ability on full display by having it be animated to show each of the regulars or the stars of the show future death dates. Yeah, a little morbid, right? So according to internet legend, the show featured Bart being ripped out of a plane through the window. Okay, not great. This leads to his family going into mourning for a full year until they are nothing but skeleton versions of themselves. It is also said that the graveyard where Bart is buried is full of tombstones, all of which have the death dates of every Simpsons guest that had ever and will ever appear on the show. In our number 9 spot today, we have Spongebob SquarePants. Okay, how could an episode of SpongeBob be scary? I mean, that jolly little sponge is like a ray of sunshine anywhere he goes in Bikini Bottom, but apparently there is one episode that is not like the others. Internet rumors have suggested that there is a lost, dark, eerie episode of SpongeBob that we are all definitely glad we haven't seen. Rumor says that this episode never even made it to the final edit because it was so dark. The rumor of its existence stems from someone who claims to have seen the episode while doing an internship with Nickelodeon. This episode is said to deal with really serious topics like death and maybe even Squidward taking his own life, which honestly is really messed up. The episode thankfully never made it to air, and it is said that while there was an investigation into the footage, nothing ever ended up coming of it. In our number 8 spot today, we have The Peanut Vendor. The Peanut Vendor was made in 1933, and it's a really short animated film and just shows a monkey who's singing a song. This sounds cute, but I assure you, it is the stuff of nightmares. The monkey is selling peanuts, and a song is about how he is only there for a limited time, so everyone should come and buy some before they go to sleep. This all seems very reasonable, except for the fact that this animated monkey character does not look like a monkey at all, and instead looks absolutely horrifying. If you put this guy next to Jason Voorhees, I feel like I would still be more scared of whatever he is. I feel like I do not want to buy his peanuts, but I'm afraid that if I don't, he's gonna come and find me. I truly didn't know that a 2-minute animated video could be this creepy, but they certainly delivered. In our number 7 spot today, we have Tom's Basement. Tom and Jerry is an absolute classic. What a silly little show with a great dynamic. Tom was of course the bloodthirsty cat, while Jerry was the quick, clever mouse, but apparently things for both of them turned sinister in a rumored lost episode called Tom's basement. It is said that this lost episode was actually a short, and internet legend says that in the episode, Tom's owner told him to stay out of the basement. In fact, this owner is definitely a terrible person and is said to actually harm Tom in the episode anytime he gets near the basement door. Legend goes that Jerry ends up using this to his advantage and he starts to make Tom chase him into the basement, where he then hides while this terrible owner loses his temper. In the end, it is said that this situation continues to escalate and it leads to Jerry killing this guy. Him and Tom then end up hiding the body in the basement, and Jerry goes on to also kill Tom. I mean, what in the world? I'm just glad this episode isn't around anymore. In our number 6 spot today, we have Catdog. Catdog is actually a cartoon I can remember watching when I was a kid, and I remember it scaring the heck out of me. Catdog is half cat, half dog creature that gets itself into situations and has quite the time figuring everything out, considering the cat half and the dog half can't seem to get along with each other. This is just a weird premise in general, but it's not the strangest part of the show. There is an episode when Cat wants to brush Dog's teeth, and he crawls into his own mouth and travels through his own body to get to the dog side, where he then comes out of Dog's mouth. So now, Cat is hanging out of Dog's mouth, inside out, with veins and muscles and everything we never wanted to see exposed. I know this was probably just meant to be like a silly little thing, but it's actually really scary and just a lot for anyone to even begin to try and comprehend. Maybe I'm looking into it a little too much as an adult, but overall this show just has a very weird vibe. In our number 5 spot today, we have the Kitchen Casanova. The Kitchen Casanova was made in 1996, great year, and was a part of Cartoon Network's What a Cartoon series. Basically, it's about a guy who's trying to prepare dinner for his date, but he's exceptionally nervous, and of course, Murphy's Law would have it that everything is going wrong. This cartoon was actually eventually pulled from air because of the fact that at one point he accidentally slices off his fingers and blood goes spurting everywhere, which probably isn't the ideal image for the target audience. I don't even think that this is the worst part. In the end, when the date arrives and he reveals this big meal that he made, it's actually just the grossest and creepiest looking thing ever, and it had me feeling very glad that I was only watching a cartoon. The dinner has eyeballs, bloody bones, a severed human foot, and a rolled up tongue that unfortunately unrolls and then twitches before being covered up again. It's a pile of gross, not really food. I could get past that except for the fact that they actually eat it. I just hate that so much. All in all, this whole thing is just very bizarre, and the ending leaves you with a super uncomfortable feeling. In our number 4 spot today, we have Ed, Edd, and Eddy. I personally loved this show as a kid. It was so wacky and wild, but this rumored lost episode definitely doesn't seem like a good time. Legend has it that this lost episode is one that accidentally aired back in 2003. It is said that one day there was supposed to be a rerun of an already aired episode, but instead viewers found themselves watching something much more creepy. Apparently the characters were acting weird and the animation was super choppy. From here, in the last 3 minutes of the episode, claymation characters start to take over, and the episode in general is just really strange and uncomfortable and eerie. People on the internet have said that the episode was just wrong on all levels, and it left them with just a really sinister feeling. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Powerpuff Girls. Sugar, spice, and everything nice, the Powerpuff Girls is a classic show that might be surprising to see on this list, unless you have seen or at least heard of this rumored lost episode. While usual episodes of the show saw our 3 superheroes Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup along with their creator Professor Utonium just kicking butt and taking names, this lost episode is said to have shown something much darker. This episode is said to follow Professor Utonium as he encounters a terrifying, dark, zombie-like version of Bubbles. Apparently this Bubbles is on some sort of killing rampage. Yeah. Definitely not the type of Powerpuff episode we're used to seeing. In our number 2 spot today, we have Ren and Stimpy. This lost episode of Ren and Stimpy is said to have been titled Man's Best Friend. Rumor has it that this episode was meant to be aired during the original run of the 2nd season, but it never ended up making it to air. This is because it was said to be too controversial. The most important or controversial scene in question from this lost episode is said to have seen Ren getting really violent. In this outburst, people said he was seen smoking smoking cigars after he harmed and almost took someone's life. Rumor has it that the creation of this episode got one of the show's creators fired. This lost episode apparently stayed hidden and didn't air until 11 years later, when that rumored fired creator was able to air it on Ren and Stimpy Adult Party Cartoon, which was the revival of the original series on Spike. In our number 1 spot today we have Barney and Friends. This is said to be a lost episode of Barney and Friends that recently came to light on TikTok. Many users were claiming that they were now remembering this dark episode that they had watched many years ago, and people were claiming that this episode was so dark it made them feel basically traumatized. While Barney and Friends usually had episodes that taught us the value of friendship and good relationships, this episode is said to have a much darker tone and allegedly only aired one single time. The episode in question is said to have been called Death, and many people have claimed that when the theme music started to play, you could hear a sort of creepy whispering just behind the music. After this, everything seemed to return to normal until Barney awoke. When Barney spoke, it was both the sound of his normal giggly voice, but there was also something darker behind it, like another voice underneath that was lower and just sinister sounding. Apparently, this is the episode where Barney said that he was going to teach about death. People on TikTok have said that the episode ends with Barney going on a rampage and killing all of his friends on set, and at the end, he's still saying the classic "I love you, you love me" song, but just in a bit more of a screamy, demonic way than I think any of us are probably used to. So yeah, while I'm not entirely sure this episode ever existed, if it did, I think it's probably for the best that it stays lost in the past. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I'll see you next time. Bye!